Well, howdy, boys and girls. Today, okay, thank you, ma'am. Today, I want to share with you Aisin transmissions. I don't know, man. They've been out there long enough, but for some odd reason, people are just not sharing enough info on them or something. As a guy that has over 1 million miles on Aisin transmissions, meaning my whole fleet combined, I can tell you the ups and downs. Okay, guys. I'll try to keep this as short as possible, but yet give you the most condensed info. So an Aisin transmission originally comes out of a medium duty truck, or should I say trucks. Most popular one I've been doing my research that I've done is they came out of those box trucks, those huge box trucks. You know, those I don't want to say FedEx, because FedEx this is not their most popular truck, but let's say those mattress companies, those furniture companies that drive around delivering your furniture and mattresses, those big box trucks that have air brakes and all that. That's where that Aisin coming from. So it comes from a medium duty background. Sorry guys, I lost my train of thought here. Specifically what I wanted to cover. Oh, okay, I got it. So the nature of the beast is medium duty, okay? And most of you fellas watching this, and gals, sorry, I don't mean to be a sexist, but looking at my analytics, I think I'm at 98% fellas, and that 2% of females, I feel like guys borrow their girlfriend's cell phone or something. But nevertheless, thank you, gals. I know there's some of you out there watching, but please don't take it offensively when I say fellas guys. I just mean general. Anyway, so back to transmission. Sorry guys, I'm having a hard time staying focused today. Back to that point of the medium duty, okay? There's pluses and minuses. Just like any tool that you have. You know, you don't need a 7-pound sledgehammer when you're doing finished work inside a house. You actually need a carpenter's little hammer to finish off those little nails. You guys getting the analogy here? Man, some of you guys really don't get my analogy, so I gotta keep them simple. So that little nail that needs a little tap doesn't need a sledgehammer behind it to finish off the process of nailing that little trim piece. Same thing with the transmission, guys. You don't need a medium duty transmission and just hauling your rear end around. I know I emphasize a lot on Aisin is better than Chrysler as far as transmissions goes, and it almost seems like I'm bashing on Chrysler, but that's from my standpoint. That's from what I use the transmissions for. Every single day this transmission is pulling a gross weight on average 24,000. You know, it's rare for my trucks to be anything lower than 20,000. I mean, I'm talking about all the weight, truck, trailer, weight, gear, everything, and up to 26. You know, some fellas, they got CDLs. You know, those trucks get pushed even further than 26, but for the most part, they're kept at about 22, 24. You can't have a Chrysler deal with that every day. It's a piece of junk when it comes to dealing with that kind of stuff every single day. Now, on the flip side, Aisin is a slow transmission. If you just haul your butt around, it's not by far junk, not because my crap's the best crap on the market or what I'm trying to advertise here. Man, Aisin should be paying me for all these explanations I do on their transmissions. But anyways, Aisin is not that much slower than Chrysler, but in a drag race, an Aisin will lose to a Chrysler transmission because the Chrysler transmission doesn't lock up as quick, so it doesn't kill that mojo of the torque converter. Now, don't go blowing up the comments. I understand what I'm talking about here. You know, a slipping torque converter kills mojo too. Don't get me wrong there, but at the right time, it needs to lock up, and at the right time, it needs to slip. Now, Chrysler isn't so fond of sorry about that. Aisin isn't so fond of slipping. So, you know, the first, second, possibly third gear, you'll get some slippage, but after that, you're going to stay locked in pretty consistently. And I'm not saying they don't unlock and, you know, slip a bit and then lock up. I'm just saying they don't do it as often as Chrysler. So if, like, say, you're just hauling your booty around and you're in traffic and you need to go past, let's just say you're in a passing situation on a highway, Chrysler will respond better and it will get you going quicker. Did I say Chrysler? I did say Chrysler. Chrysler will get you moving quicker. I'm just talking about a pickup, empty pickup, and your booty on there. So, you know, you got your ups and downs, guys. And there ain't no such thing. And again, I repeat myself, there isn't such thing as one size fits it all. Bullcrap, I don't want to hear it. One size could fit a good percentage of things, but it ain't such thing as one size fits it all. So, back to the Aisin. You know, I throw these comparisons so you guys understand and weigh it out for yourself. You know, just because a guy on YouTube said Aisin's the best stuff, don't mean it's the best stuff for you. It just fits him well. Once again, for the guys that don't watch my channel, I hot shot, and I have quite a few pickups with Aisin transmissions. Is there any horror stories out there with an Aisin? Absolutely. I have a buddy that bought his first pickup, and I mean, this guy was towing stuff that he should have never hooked up to that truck. If a transmission was gonna go, it was gonna be his transmission. I mean, the kind of crap that he pulled with that truck, I think he even ruined fourth gear at an early stage, and like ruined or bent or something. But to today's day, that transmission is still running with a little kick to it. It's not really kick. I'm making it sound like it's hitting gears. It makes noise in his fourth gear. From what, 160,000 to 300 something. Still making that noise, but ain't grenading. He said, well, I'll just change the tranny once it goes. Well, still hasn't went. Same guy has another truck, you know, bought a second truck, drove it. I want to say he got 60 or 70,000 miles out of it. I want to say that, don't quote me, but I know it's low miles for what we do and how we use our trucks. Really low mileage. And this guy's tranny just absolutely destroys itself, you know. As I said, about 60,000, whatever, just ballpark it, 60,000 miles. I'm not gonna put a number on it, but all I know is really low. About half a year, maybe about a year into his process of ownership. I think that's what I read about there. He that transmission just goes to crap. Here he was thinking, you know, his first truck is gonna blow any minute on the tranny side because he ruined it, and it was 100% his fault. He hooked up an oversized load. I mean, this thing was a huge parachute. It was fairly heavy for him. It was topping him out on the weight side, but it was also a huge parachute. And he just, man, we're talking about 14 feet tall and 13 or 14 feet wide. Big old parachute. It was something, as I said, never should have been hooked up. It was a load that should have never been hooked up to his truck, but he did it. But anyways, back to what I was saying, you know. His first truck is still going, and the second truck at very low mileage, 60,000, let's just put a number. Plus minus, as I said, somewhere between 50 and 70, 60, so I'm going to just stick with 60, you know. And it goes kaboom, and I mean it goes kaboom to crap. That thing just destroyed itself. It just goes to tell you, you know, it's mechanics. So what you got to do is average it out. What's your experience and how do you deal with it is question of the day. You know, if you're hot shotting, guys, don't freaking use a transmit. Don't use a Chrysler transmission. You're asking for trouble. It was never meant to be used and abused every single day. That's all it is. It's just, it wasn't meant for that. Just like I said a few minutes ago about the tool. You got to know what you're buying that tool for and how you're going to be using it, and that's all that it comes down to. I know, guys, I've went a little too deep and I wasted your time on the details of the Aisin and my buddy's story, but this is experience that we could go out and share with you guys and help one or another, or one person or other person, or another person, whatever. You guys get what I'm trying to say. And that's just, sorry guys, I got something that's coming through right now. That just shows that, hey, they're out, you know, there's, what do they say? You know, there's always a bad apple and a batch of apples, or pallet of apples, whatever you want to eat. There's always a bad apple in a box of apples, whatever. You guys get the analogy there. So don't let that let you down. But I myself have over 1 million miles. I know I'm repeating myself, but I never had issues. Do I not abuse these transmissions? Absolutely abuse the piss out of them. I mean, transmission is a self-destructing piece of mechanics. I mean, it's just burning clutches. That's all it is. And for a transmission to last 300,000, like I have a truck to last 300,000 with any issues, first of all, thank God. Second of all, thank God. And third of all, thank God. You know, I don't understand how it could last so long. But those engineers got their stuff down. God has given them the wisdom and generosity for us, the consumers, to have a decent piece of mechanic, should I say, in a little box that does so much. You know, you could and guys, I'm having a hard time driving and talking, so I'm gonna pull over. I don't mean to bore you guys to death, but I'm gonna pull into a parking lot here. How to turn around, and I took the most awkward route ever. Back to what I was saying. You know, you could take that awesome $200 hammer. Now, guys, I have to keep my analogy simple because some of you guys, as I said, really get lost. Well, thanks to me and my analogies, but that $200 hammer is not going to do you any good if you just need a lightweight specialty hammer. You need that lightweight to do a certain thing. So, no, a transmission isn't just a transmission the way it sounds. A lot of people just don't understand that, and they get all fussy about it. When one tells them, no, this is not going to fit you, or no, this is a pile of junk in this area, or it might be great in another, like I just talked about Chrysler's, you know. Chrysler transmission is a perfect everyday transmission. It's just a light duty transmission that you get nothing more than just your basic operations out of. You know, you're not going to get life out of it as far as I'm not saying that right. It's not life. You're not going to get extra power out of it safely. You're not. You could tune it and you could preserve it. You could extend the life of it. But it's never going to match a Chrysler will never match an Aisin transmission in the same of duty line work, a line of work, and what I'm talking about in the medium duty realm. So to condense everything down and simplify it for you, you know, a Chrysler transmission is light duty, guys. Don't pick up that big old mallet and start swinging with it if you need a light duty hammer. So go with the light duty transmission. It'll be quicker, it'll be snappier, but don't tune that truck and try to crank some power out of it and then, you know, blame Chrysler for it. Chrysler put that transmission, it'll serve Cummins just fine, but in a Cummins, or in a stock form in the Cummins where it produces with all the stock parameters for the engine and transmission. And it, you know, if you're gonna tow a 5,000 to 10,000 pound trailer, you got nothing to worry about. Do your services, guys. Service. There's a bunch of clutches burning themselves to death, is what a sludge box is, you know, an automatic box. So do your services, you know. How do I do mine? 30 to 50,000 mile bracket. I know that's a bit ridiculous and broad, but temperature and duty. You know, just naturally the way the industry is, you know, if a guy has a CDL in my line of work, his truck will always end up loaded more than the rest of them because he could take the weight, and, you know, he's obviously pulling a little bit heavier trailer. Or he could do this or he could do that, but you get the point. That truck needs a little bit shorter intervals. That's all I'm trying to say. You know, that truck, we'll keep an eye on it and do about 30 to 40,000, you know. We also, you know, I keep a close eye and I talk to the drivers and try to get any extreme stories out of them. You know, if the guy had to haul an oversized load and it was a parachute through dead summer and he was pushing crazy temps, guys, it only takes once. It only takes once to overheat that automatic transmission and your oil is toast. Oh my goodness. I'm yapping for 14 minutes, guys. I'm sorry. Either I'm going to not post this video or I'm going to make another video. It's a lot more condensed, but just spitting truth with you guys. Spitting some knowledge with you. But anyways, let me finish and let you guys go. you know, that transmission fluid, it overheats once, that's it. From that point on, you're done. Your transmission is just at a dramatic rate of self-destructing. And the easiest way to do it is just pull your dipstick and smell your fluid, you know. Now this one's hard to explain. Well, instead of telling you what to look for, I'll tell you. Instead of telling you what should be in your transmission fluid, I'll tell you what shouldn't be. That'd be the easiest one. If you smell anything burnt, like if that fluid smells burnt, dump it. And I mean dump it ASAP. Get that transmission serviced as soon as you can. If the thing is the wrong color, then you got smelling issues. I don't mean to offend anyone. If that thing's already brown and it's supposed to be pink, it should be bright red, which a lot of times it reflects as pink on your dipstick. That's the proper color. You know, just keep going. Best way to tell you this is watch your trans temps. And as far as the temps go, don't quote me on this, but if your tranny ever reaches 220, I feel like that tranny fluid is toast. I mean, absolutely toast. That's my opinion, and I have no experience or knowledge upon this. The reason I say that, because as far as I know, my guys have not been able to get the transmission temps to 220. And even at 50,000 miles, you know, some of those trucks that got quote-unquote neglected, my tranny fluid was just a shade darker, maybe two. I mean, I never had brown fluid. I never had dark red fluid. I never had like burnt fluid, because I'm meticulous on my service and I don't let it get that far. And Aisin, of course, runs their coolers well and their transmission, so thank God for that. But back to the point of using the proper caliper for the project, you know. Average Joe, I almost want to advise you to get a Chrysler transmission. If you don't mind a slower transmission, Aisin will overdo it for you, and you'll be a happy owner for many years to come. Period. I can't give you guarantee. I myself have over 1 million miles combined on these transmissions, no issues. And my buddy, you know, 60,000 miles, he blew a tranny to smithereens. It was an Aisin too, and he did nothing more or less than he did to his previous truck, which has over 300,000, not a single issue with the tranny, besides the fact that it makes that noise in fourth gear. So that's that. Anyways, guys, to conclude this all, if you just haul your tail around, don't stress it. Looking for an Aisin, you can buy a Chrysler and you'll be fine. Don't freaking tune that truck up and then blame Chrysler for building a crappy transmission. Chrysler was freaking cheap, and they just put the basic necessities for that tranny to pull the engine. That's why they throw a fit when you tune that truck and void your warranty, because they're not going to go out there and overdo your transmission at their dime. You're not paying them extra. They got to compete with Ford and Chevy. How are they going to do that when they start throwing extra parts in your tranny that you're never going to use to its full potential? So that's Chrysler for you. Now Aisin. Aisin's a really solid company. If you guys didn't know, Aisin is half owned by Toyota. It's a Japanese transmission. They have their flaws and they have their issues, but they don't put them at the expense of the owner's reliability of the truck if it's kept stuck. Oh my goodness, I have so much more to share with you guys. I got this another story right on my tongue, and I don't know if I can share it with you guys. Well, what I might do is just do part 1 and part 2. There you go. We'll do that with the video. Anyway, so Aisin has issues with their transmissions, and they have weak points, but they're not so far back that they self-destruct themselves because of that weak point. Where Chrysler is right there on the verge. Pretty much, you have a reserve with Aisin, and you do not have a reserve with Chrysler. But because Chrysler is so much more popular and more readily available, the aftermarket world, well, simply, you could tune that darn thing, where Aisin's, it's still locked. No one can tune an Aisin. But anyways, back to the Chryslers. They're so readily available that the aftermarket industry is like, hey, time to make some money. So they offer you A through Z parts and giving you a quote-unquote bulletproof transmission and giving you warranties. Hey, more power to those guys that figured it out. I have not experienced with any of them, and I can't tell you if that's a solid statement that it's a lifetime warranty and they'll take care of you. But that's a story for another day. I've seen them. They work. Just I don't know how long they're going to work for. Being more of a Aisin topic here, so much on the Chrysler, staying focused on the Aisin. I have a family member that has a pickup truck. And he's a smart fella, but I feel like he doesn't understand the mechanics completely. And I mean, he drove the piss out of his truck. I mean, guys, if you're gonna tow a gooseneck and gross 26,000, do me a favor. Forget yourself. Obviously, if you already had this thought, you're not clicking. Do me a favor as a gearhead and understanding mechanics and feeling bad. I feel like mechanics got emotions too, and they got feelings. Well, not emotions, but they got feelings too. Don't abuse them. Don't freaking download a 150 horse tune and pull your gooseneck loaded throughout the country. On top of that, haul 80 miles an hour pulling your load. That's great, guys. This relative of mine hooks up a gooseneck. Now, by no means, brother, you know who you are. I'm not bashing on you. Just listen to the story. You'll amaze me. Your truck amazed me. So check this out. It's a 2015, pushing everything out of it, running a crappy tune. I'm not gonna say who the name is, but it's a crappy tune, and freaking working that thing into the ground for a year at 150 and some change, a year and some change at 150 tune, and then it wasn't enough. If I remember right, he put it at 200 horse tune. He wants to climb hills faster, so he puts it up at 200 horse tune and pulls these hills as fast as he can. And if the speed limit's 80, he'll give it 80. I asked my guys. I don't have proof on some of them going much faster than 70, but I ask guys, don't drive the wheels off of my trucks and trailers. Keep it under 70. I understand sometimes you got to pass it. I understand the load permits it, but please keep it under 70, So, but anyways, gas mileage is an issue, but it's not my primary issue. Because my trailers are greased. Because you guys are going to ask me why keep it under 70. Because my trailers are not oil bath, I firmly believe the grease will never cool like oil will. So therefore, I don't want them to fry the bearings off of it being greased. Now, don't bombard me too. I know I might be wrong on this one. It's just a personal preference more than anything else. Just the way I feel about it. So I ask my guys, keep it under 70, even if the speed limit's 80. This guy has oil bath bearings. Has disc brakes. He set up his truck well and trailer, but still 300 some thousand, or actually don't quote me on that, right about 300,000, the engine gives up the ghost. Guys, 150 horse tune from day one, and only went up from there to the last breath that truck had. And the engine goes? I would put money that the transmission would go a lot quicker than the engine went. But yeah, Paul, you just said a crappy tune. Duh. No. Yes, I did say crappy tune, but it still ran half decent. An automatic is a slush box. It just burns itself into the ground. Wouldn't you think that transmission would go a lot sooner than the Cummins? I did. I didn't even doubt it. For sure as heck, my brother-in-law is the one that underlined that. He's like, dude, Aisin's really gaining my respect. The tranny held up, but the engine didn't. And that really surprised me. So anyways, boys, a few testimonies for you guys. And figured I'll throw this in. It's important stuff. Now, comparing Aisin to Chrysler as far as service goes. Guys, I don't see metal shavings in my filters. I don't see them in my oil pan. I see metal dust on my magnets sometimes in my Aisins. A little or more, but I see it. I see, material, I should say, on my magnets. Not my filter, not my oil pan. But when I drop a Chrysler transmission oil pan, at this point I could almost guarantee you there's going to be material laying in the pan, and there's going to be, debris on the magnet in the filter. Well, can't really see inside the filter on that one. But, well, no, that's 2 filters. I guess I never cared to look inside the filter. Just looking inside the oil pan and the magnet, go figure what the filter's going to be like. So I never really looked into it. That's the truth. So that alone should tell you at what rate the transmission is wearing itself out. That should be a telltale sign, And this, relative of mine that did it, all these tunes and. Dude, I thought he'd grenade his rear end. I thought something's gonna go, but not the engine. Yeah, sure as heck his engine went. Anyways, so I guess a mixture of a hard life and hot tunes. He ran the temps up pretty high, and I think that's what did it for him. As far as I know, I believe his crank snapped. If I remember right. But anyways, enough of me. Sorry for holding up so long, and as always, have a mighty fine day.